The Batman Arkham games are some of the best forms of media of all time, rivaling Shawshank Redemption, Breaking Bad, and the Bible. Today we're going to be discussing the best moment of each of these games, and at the end I will rank which I feel is best overall. Comment down below your list, be sure to like and subscribe, and let's get started. Arkham Asylum is a difficult one. With nostalgia goggles on, I could talk about this game for years about how brilliant it is and perfect, but I don't think that would be too interesting of a video. The runners up for the best moment would have to be the very first Predator encounter in the intensive treatment facility. This was so incredible to me when I first played it, as I had never played any stealth games before this. I can't describe how nervous I was sneaking up on enemies, not knowing the paths they would take or how lethal the guns were, and of course they're not much of a threat now that I'm used to it, but it was so cool at the time learning from the very beginning. Another small runner-up would have to be the first Scarecrow section, where something definitely felt wrong. Batman inhaled Scarecrow's toxin while going down the elevator, but seemed to brush it off and continues to search for Commissioner Gordon. Something so creepy though is when Batman opened the crate, his eyes turned an orangey yellow, which was so scary when I was younger, as I didn't know what was going on and I thought it was a glitch in the game, where I even ended up restarting just to be sure. But staying on the topic of Scarecrow, the fake crash scene has to be my favourite moment of Arkham Asylum, not just for how scary it was, but more so about how creative it was. I think it wasn't just an iconic moment in the series, but in gaming in general. It's common for this moment to appear in news articles discussing the times when developers tricked the players. It's genius in the way that it's not a fear that Batman has, but what the player has. Imagine you're 3/4 into a game, for the game to crash, then to find out your game is corrupted and you need to start all over again. Joker escorts Batman to his cell, but after Scarecrow's examination, they believe that there's nothing they can do for Batman and Joker shoots him. You most likely were tricked again, as you'll get this fail screen thinking you must have missed something, until you notice the game says to use the middle stick to dodge Joker's gunfire, which is just toying with the player, as they literally cannot do that. In my opinion, this section is genius due to its creativity, uniqueness, and using the player's fear against them. This is why Scarecrow's fake crash is my favourite moment of Arkham Asylum. Arkham City is packed full of great moments, so it was definitely tough to pick an overall best. Finally getting Mr. Freeze's tech to jam Penguin's gun, then uppercutting Penguin off the top of the iceberg, only to find out that Penguin had a backup plan, then revealing Solomon Grundy of all people underneath the iceberg was really cool. Another mention in Arkham City would have to be the Mr. Freeze boss fight. I spoke about it in my best and worst boss fights of every game, and how creative it was and how well balanced it is between Batman and Mr. Freeze. How Batman will find one way to take Freeze down, and Victor will figure out a way to counteract this vulnerability. It's really cool, and you know how great it is due to it always being brought up years later. But the winner in my eyes would have to be Joker's death. This was a brilliant way to end the game, as how could they kill Batman's biggest, most iconic villain? This was before Joker showed up in every other game anyway, either as a prequel or a ghost, but still a bold move from Rocksteady that really opened the doors of possible storylines in a post-Joker Gotham, which was really exciting. The performances from Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill were superb in this scene. I love how Batman is contemplating whether or not to save Joker after killing Talia, giving Gotham's hospital poison blood, and the countless crimes he's committed previous to Arkham City. Batman just doesn't know what to do with the Joker. Would Gotham benefit from Batman finally ending Joker's life? Before Batman can even make his decision though, Joker stabs Batman in the arm, knocking the cure out of his hand. Joker desperately tries to scrape the cure off the ground, but with no success. Batman tells him that the funny thing was that Batman would have saved him after the thousands of murders he committed, the torture of innocent people, and the destruction he caused. That would still not be enough for Batman to break his code, which you can appreciate with Batman, even though you can see it as a flaw also. Joker finds this hilarious, how broken his no-kill rule is, and we hear one last line laugh before Joker passes away. It's great how Batman carries Joker out of Arkham City, similar to the portrait we seen at the start of the game with Catwoman, how Batman is unresponsive and how dead quiet the witnesses are around him. Batman is processing the death of a major villain and what the consequences of this could mean for the future of Gotham. I love how the game finishes very open-ended. So many questions could be asked by the player. I remember fans wondering if the Joker was still alive, as when Batman wakes up from being knocked out, we can see that the cure switches from his left hand to his right hand. It just shows how excited everyone was for what was coming. This is why Joker's death is my best moment of Arkham City. Moving on to Arkham Origins, and Arkham Origins had plenty of great moments, gameplay and story-wise. An honourable mention would have to be Bane's first proper introduction in the Royal Hotel. The huge contrast between him and the Arkham Bane from the previous games is very interesting, and it's a shame we didn't get more of him. The way he's able to detect Batman hiding above him in the lift and rips him down with ease. Even Bane's fighting style just seems to be a bit more strategic rather than Asylum's version of just rushing at Batman and hoping for the best, which apparently is due to Paul Dini, the writer of Asylum and City, disliking Bane as a character, but I'm not sure how true that is. Bane in Arkham Origins is a lot more comic book accurate and is as intelligent, if not more intelligent, than Batman. Also, his boss fight is a huge improvement over the original Asylum fight. Another honourable mention would have to be the Deathstroke boss fight. I love the lead up to where Deathstroke sneaks up on Batman without Batman noticing and wraps a cable around his leg, pulling Batman away from interrogating Penguin. The different stages are really well done, also with Deathstroke's fighting styles changing from when he has a staff to when he has a sword. My pick would have to be the conversation between Batman and Alfred, when Alfred is worried that Bruce will not survive the night against the assassins. But before this, we need to look at the lead up to this argument. There's plenty of tension between Alfred and Bruce. Alfred is frustrated, mainly in good faith, due to Bruce being Batman, and Alfred worrying that Bruce will be killed out in Gotham when he could be safe if he stayed in the manor and wait out the night, as Black Mask's bounty would expire by then. Batman's argument though is that the assassins will use innocent civilians to draw Batman out if he tries to hide, and may kill them if he doesn't appear. The stress of this builds up until Alfred cannot take it anymore and we get this scene.
Master Bruce, stop! Master Bruce, I will not in good conscience allow you to go. You're outmatched by these assassins.
What?
You're not some hardened vigilante. You're a young man with a trust fund and too much anger. You're in over your head, and I don't want this to be your end.
Alfred, who do you see when you look at me? The boy whose shoes you used to tie every morning? The teenager you drove to his first date? While you are here every night, I am out there. The only thing between the innocent and the predator.
Be.
No, not maybe. I am. When the mugger or the thief stops to think twice, that is fear. That is what I am. That is why they hired assassins, because I am the reason the criminals breathe easier when the sun rises. So no, Alfred, I am not in over my head. Tonight will not be my end, but it will be theirs.
This is a great scene, and I love how it just doesn't come out of nowhere, as you always get those snarky comments from Alfred over the course of the game. Even during this story, it's justified that Alfred is normally right, and that Bruce is really struggling against the assassins, with Batman needing the help of the police and Alfred on multiple occasions, such as when Batman is poisoned by Copperhead during the fight with Bane, and the last bomb on the bridge needing to be defused. Alfred is justifiably angry for having to bail out Batman multiple times and is worried that Batman's luck will run out if he's not careful. Bruce in Origins is a lot more short-tempered and has to prove to the Gotham criminals that he will do anything to take them down, so taking a day off to hide would put innocent people in danger, but also will come off as cowardly towards his enemies. This is really well built up, and the writing in the scene is great. What's better is the acting from both Martin Jarvis as Alfred and of course Roger Craig Smith as Batman Batman. This scene feels very realistic, as it's very natural, with Batman cutting off Alfred mid-sentence, which would normally happen in an argument, and I love the emotion between both characters. I originally didn't get the hype around this scene, but after playing Arkham Shadow and Roger Craig Smith's amazing performance, I do really appreciate how good this scene really is. This is why Batman and Alfred's argument is the best moment in Arkham Origins. If you're enjoying the video, please consider becoming a member. It can be as little as 99 cents per month, which currently gives you access to videos early and exclusive emotes. Moving on to the spin-off game that a lot of people probably forgot about, that being Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate, a game that was originally released for PS Vita and Nintendo 3DS. I recently finished this game and overall it's pretty bad in my opinion, but there are a few standout moments that I'd like to talk about. An honourable mention, and this is a spoiler for Arkham Origins Blackgate, when Batman has defeated all 3 bosses and heads to find the hostages that are the Blackgate staff members, it is revealed that it's actually Bane that was kept in the cell, and that Catwoman tricked Batman into opening the cell so that she could take Bane. It is later revealed that Amanda Waller was actually the person who set this all up and hired Catwoman to pull this off. It does show how smart Catwoman is, and how sneaky it was for her to trick Batman into helping her this entire time. And what is cooler is Batman isn't able to stop her even from taking Bane at the start, as she's set up distractions around the prison that he needs to take care of first. And looking for these distractions, either bombs or hostages, was pretty repetitive and boring, but at least the setup of it was very good. Another cool moment is depending on your choices on which villain you defeat last, this could change what the distraction is. For example, if you defeat Joker last, you will have bombs with presents. If you defeat Black Mask last, then you will have Wayne Tech boxes strapped with explosives. And if you defeat Penguin last, then you will need to rescue hostages. But I think for my favorite moment, I'm gonna have to go for the Joker boss fight. This was really creative, surprisingly. Joker plans to release the gas canisters that will kill everyone in Blackgate, with only the computer Joker has being able to stop it. The really cool thing about this fight is that the arena you fight in is circular, and it lets Batman use his line launcher to cut across. This is useful when Joker is reloading his gun, as we can line launch across the gap and kick him, which takes a chunk of his health. Joker's other attack is that he can use a shock baton and run at Batman, where Batman will need to throw his batarang at the baton in order to deactivate it, and then that allows Batman to attack Joker again. The difficulty increases when Joker's time to dodge reduces, meaning he will shoot a lot faster, which took me off guard the first couple of times, to be honest. Overall, a pretty fun fight, and I do think it was very creative for how limited they were in the 2.5D space, especially how this was meant to run on a 3DS originally, so that's what I have to give credit to Armature for. This is why Joker's boss fight is my favourite moment of Arkham Origins Blackgate. Moving back to the mainline trilogy with Batman Arkham Knight, which had some great parts of the game with its more psychological moments. An honourable mention would have to be the pretty infamous Man-Bat jump scare. This was so cool, especially when it first happened, and Rocksteady has always been so good at these little horror elements, but I doubt anyone expected it out in the open world, but that's probably what makes it so scary. Next mention would have to be Batman's sacrifice at the start of the game when he's trying to reduce the blast radius. I love the tension of rushing, trying to get the neutralizing agent to the toxin as fast as possible, but at the same time not being able to, as the canisters overheat when moved quickly, so you need a good balance between where you're quick enough to deploy the neutralizing agent but slow enough that the game doesn't fail you. I love the music and the dialogue of this section. Batman is willing to sacrifice himself for the protection of Gotham and sees no other way around it. Alfred desperately begs Bruce to leave before he is killed, and then we get this shock reveal of Joker out of nowhere. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Joker being in Arkham Knight, but I did find the initial reveal really cool. But now for my top pick, that would have to be the final scene in the Season of Infamy DLC, In From the Cold, which I feel is an amazing scene. In this side mission, a random ship appears at Gotham, which is then swarmed with Arkham Knight's militia. Batman takes them out and heads inside of the ship, where it's revealed that Mr. Freeze is there and explains that the generator he uses to keep his wife Nora in cryostasis is damaged, meaning Nora could die if not brought back to it in time. To make things worse, the militia have kidnapped Nora and will only return her if he teams up with them to defeat Batman. Freeze contemplates whether to fight Batman or not, but decides to reject the idea and gives Batman the location of Nora. After some time, Batman finds and saves Nora, with Nora out of her cryo chamber refusing to go back in. Mr. Freeze goes into a panicked state that Nora is awake, not realizing that the generator behind him is about to malfunction. Their calls cut short as we hear an explosion in the distance with ice covering the surrounding area of the ship. Batman overhears that the militia are also heading to see what Mr. Freeze is up to, so Batman and Nora rush over to defeat them. The mission ends with Mr. Freeze having to destroy the generator completely in order to wipe the militia drones. Although victorious, Freeze is devastated that everything he has worked on towards saving Nora is now gone, all his research and technology. Nora doesn't seem to be fazed by this though, as she's just happy to be with Victor again, even if they only have a matter of days to spend together. There are some pretty powerful lines spoken during this cutscene, and the voice acting is really well done and feels very natural. I definitely think this is the saddest moment in the Batman Arkham games, and it's crazy to think that this is in a DLC side mission that many probably haven't even touched. It's tough knowing that Nora was frozen for so many years, being able to hear people around her, but not being able to move. I feel so bad for Mr. Freeze for dedicating his life to saving his wife for nothing really, when in reality all she wanted was that little bit of time with him. I would love to see this in a live action Batman movie, as I feel Mr. Freeze deserves a deep and complex story similar to what the Riddler had in the Batman. This is why Mr. Freeze's ending is my best moment of Batman Arkham Knight. A lot of people most likely forgot this game even exists, but Batman Arkham VR released not too long after Arkham Knight and received pretty mixed reviews. It definitely felt like a tech demo, with it taking less than an hour to complete, and felt more like Rocksteady were just dipping their toes into VR to see how they feel. The game doesn't really have too many moments that I love, but an honourable mention would have to be interrogating Penguin. This game was a fairly early on VR game, so it wasn't as immersive as the 2024 game Arkham Shadow, but the scene where we perch above Penguin and his thugs, then we hit a fire extinguisher that provides cover so that we can take the thugs down and tie up Penguin, was pretty cool. I love how Gotham looks in the background, and this game does look really good for a VR game, probably because Rocksteady could reuse some of their assets from Arkham Knight. It's also much more alive than Arkham Knight, where we can see the monorail moving past us and traffic down below, which is so cool to see, as in Arkham Knight we only saw a few thugs scattered around the map. But my favourite moment of this game would definitely have to be the ending of the game. After we see Robin grabbed by Killer Croc, the screen flashes red and we are in a lift which goes down to the intensive treatment facility, which we all know is an Arkham Asylum. This is where it gets pretty creepy as we hear the screams of what seems to be coming from Jason Todd in the background. Further on we find 3 cells, one containing Scarface, the next containing Victor Zsasz, and lastly the Joker, who after convincing you to lean in close to him, we notice that we are now in the cell, where it is revealed that Batman was actually really behind everything. It shows us that Batman purposely got Robin killed, and that he was the one that snapped Nightwing's neck. When Batman looks in the mirror again, it's not his own reflection, but the Joker's, and Joker laughs till the game cuts to black. Although not an amazing game, I do love how it goes into depth to what Batman's fears were going into the events of Arkham Knight. His main fear is turning into the Joker, going against his code, and killing his loved ones. This is why the ending is my best moment of Batman Arkham VR. Batman Arkham Shadow is our last game of the list, and surprisingly this game turned out to be incredible and exceeded everyone's expectations. It feels like Arkham Asylum the way it was designed, but improved on Asylum's shortcomings. We really needed this game to come out and give us a bit of hope for the franchise after Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League released earlier that same year. Here are Shadow's honourable moments. First honourable moment would have to be the Bolton fight. I personally really enjoyed this fight and it had a lot of variety for a VR game and for a Batman Arkham game, as the Batman Arkham games are always critiqued for their boss fights, as they really are the weaker part of the games in most cases. Bolton has multiple different attacks, and the way that you have to take the cylinders off his back then whack him is really cool. Having to dodge him multiple ways and then punch him feels very cinematic and engaging. I do really love the build up to Bolton, as he is the main person running the prison, as we see him even introducing us when we come into Blackgate, and we encounter him multiple times with him taunting us leading up to the boss fight. I think that Bolton is a great character in Arkham Shadow who is powerful and intimidating. Another mention would have to be Ratcatcher's performance by Carrie Payton. Now, I have no interest in Ratcatcher. He's not really a deep character and he's probably a D-list at best. And if he never appeared in the Arkham universe, I doubt anyone would care. But after Arkham Shadow and how well Carrie Payton played the Ratcatcher, I think he might be one of my favourite characters in Shadow and maybe even one of my favourite in the whole series. I actually would love to see Ratcatcher make more appearances. But my favourite moment of Arkham Shadow has to be the ending. Although I do love the court scene and the unexpected origin of Two-Face, I think the ending of the game stands out that bit more. At the end of the game, after the Ark crashes into the GCPD, Alfred informs us that Harvey has left a voicemail for Bruce and that it's important that he listens to it.
Right now, and I don't know if I'm gonna make it through the night, but I found him. The bastard that killed your parents, I found him. His name is Joe Chill. He was in Blackgate this whole time on different charges. Brother, I swore to you, we would make him pay. And I'm gonna take care of this.
What will you do, sir?
I don't know, Alfred.
After this revelation, Bruce is disorientated. Joe, the nice old man who has been helping Matches Malone along the way through Blackgate, was the killer of Bruce Wayne's parents, the one who created Batman in the first place, and the cause of Bruce's trauma. We make our way through the ruins of the GCPD in search of Harvey and Joe. We reach the top where we see Dent holding Joe as a hostage, and he plans to execute him as revenge for Bruce's parents. Batman, left with no other choice, removes his helmet to persuade Harvey not to shoot him, which allows Joe to escape safely. Harvey, completely rattled by this, flips a coin between Bruce or himself to be sacrificed for justice, and after it lands on Harvey, he attempts to jump off the roof of the GCPD. Bruce attempts to stop him, but Harvey drags Bruce down with him. I absolutely love this scene. From the acting to the general story itself, Troy Baker and Roger Craig Smith do an incredible job, and I don't know if this was just because the game was in VR, but I definitely felt emotionally invested and very involved, especially throughout the story where we got snippets of Bruce and Harvey as young kids going through different trauma. And yes, I'm not too keen on Harvey knowing Batman's identity, then forgetting it moments later, but I think how good that scene was, I would say it's the best way to go about it. This is why the ending is my best moment of Batman Arkham Shadow. So they're my best moments in all of the Batman Arkham games: the fake crash of Asylum, Joker's death of Arkham City, Batman and Alfred's argument in Arkham Origins, Joker's boss fight of Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate, Mr. Freeze's side mission in Arkham Knight, the Joker ending of Batman Arkham VR, and the ending of Arkham Shadow. But what is the best of the best? Here are my thoughts numbered 7 to 1, with 7 being my least favourite and 1 being my favourite. And of course this will contain spoilers for Arkham Shadow. So number 7, we're going with Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate. Pretty simple one, as the Joker boss fight really wasn't all that great. Number 6, we'll have to go with Batman Arkham VR's ending. It was well done and creepy, but I felt the game wasn't very interesting enough to get me invested. Number 5, we're going with the fake crash from Arkham Asylum. Although I love it, it's hard to rank it any higher due to it only being a fake crash and not a deep character moment. Number 4, I'm gonna have to go with Mr. Freeze's ending in Batman Arkham Knight, and although I love that moment, I did find the gameplay leading up to it pretty repetitive and uninteresting. Number 3 would have to be Arkham Shadow's Rat King confrontation. It's so well acted, and honestly I could see myself putting this higher in a few years once I've had time to reflect on it. Number 2 would have to go to Arkham Origins with Batman and Alfred's argument. Roger Craig Smith was brilliant in this scene. You can definitely feel the emotion of Batman and his immature, aggressive nature. And lastly, number 1 has to go to Arkham City's Joker death. I love this scene, and maybe because I'm a huge fan of the animated series, I think this has to be my favourite moment in all of the Batman Arkham games, especially the shock death of the Joker and how well Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy played that part. That is my thoughts on the best moments of the Batman Arkham games. Comment down below what you think. If you disagree or agree with what I said, be sure to like and subscribe. That's all for now. My name is Fo, and Slán.